I'll drink the Kool-Aid. Hit it, man, do it. This is our quick agenda. Got a couple questions for you. First off, you guys aren't even going to fucking notice my swearing following Gregory, which is awesome. Second off, where's Gregory at? Gregory Thomas. Hey, man, after this talk, me and you got to work together because I could never get Russian chicks in my neighborhood to like a Polak. So we got to figure out those demographics. All right, one thing I want to cover in today's talk, man, is SA versus SA. I'll get into that in a little bit. Why PowerShell? A quick PowerShell. Oh, first off, how do people use PowerShell? All right, cool. Who's being honest? Who's really using PowerShell? Who uses Python? Oh, Perl? Oh, liars. Liars. VBS. There you go. VBS cool. VBS cool. All right, systems administration. We're going to teach you guys or cover little things about PowerShell to do these couple things. System administration, incident response, compliance, how to build a badass module so you can like create tools. How many people write scripts in the room? How many people like to write a shitload of scripts that you give to people and then they ask you, why don't they work on my machine or why don't they work on my server? We got to fix that. And hopefully anything I have to say today, I'll cover a little bit of it. All right, man. So here's what it's not intended to do, right? We're not intended to make you a programmer. How many programmers do we have out there? You guys are going to hate me because I'm not a programmer. It's not a deep dive. Won't make you an expert. We're not affiliated with any third-party vendors. We don't get kickbacks from Microsoft. We're pretty much low-lives. Sweet. Here's a little bit about Wayne and me. We're white. We have degrees and a shit ton of certifications. But, yeah, that's true. But honestly, I learned everything I know from Army, being deployed, giving a whole bunch of shit with no tools. And then after that 12 years of hell, I went to college. And I was in school for 14 and a half years. So, okay. Let's go, man. Okay, SA versus SA. How many people are system administrators? How many people are security analysts? There's another SA. How many people suck ass? No, I'm just kidding. No, my point is with SA is I want to change our community from system administrator and security analyst. I like security analyst name. I do like that one. But the whole SA thing, it really should be secure administrator, not systems administrator. Yeah, your business goals to make sure shit's running and people get accounts and you do whatever you need. But at the end of the day, how do you do it? You validate it with paperwork, policies, procedures, all the shit that envelops security, right? At the end of the day, security is the main driver for your system administration. And we got a lot of shit to show, by the way, and the module I'm pretty stoked about. So, secure administrator, man. I spent about 9 years locking down server systems, Linux, Windows, Solaris, fucking HP UX, whatever. And they all have one thing in mind. There's always a driver, right? There's this compliance mechanism that triggers security that makes you have an audit, that people come in and judge you on how good you're doing, and then they leave and your boss yells at you or gives you a high five, and then you have to go to bat if you're a systems administrator or an analyst, and you have to like plead to the court that this is why it's set the way it is. Yes, this is open because of X, Y, and Z. It's like you're always on the defense, man, or offense. Offense? Offense. Defense? Offense? Whatever. Yeah, that's it. It's frustrating. And I'm glad I slid out of that. I'm glad I moved over to just locking stuff down and leaving. Because system administration, I'll tell you, man, it's like you cut your teeth there. You're there in long hours doing shit for people you don't like, for fucking a business you probably don't give a fuck about. And then when you leave, you're like, man, I need to go drink. I still do that, though. But at the end of the day, man, I want this talk to be educational so you can reutilize your scripts, hand them out to people, turn them into modules, turn them into tools, have them document themselves so you don't have to fuck with those people who are like, what does this fucking variable mean? How come I can't find %sign windir, %sign? Just simplify things. It's crazy. Another thing, I really like a lot of the talks today. They keep hitting on this key focus of sharing information. Where our industry's at. How many people have an IT mentor? Okay, cool. How many people are IT mentors? How many are IT mentors and don't know it? How many of you have that guy who comes up to you at work and like every 5 minutes, hey dude, hey dude, hey dude, hey dude, you're an IT mentor. I think this is pivotal, man. Like, you know, they do mentoring, leadership programs, management, all kinds of business shit. You know, why not IT? I mean, yeah, we do it. We kind of do it on the DL, kind of things like this, like in a basement of a kick-ass bar. I mean, why not more out in public? You know, I mean, I'd like to see it happen other places. Yeah, we have big venues in a city of debauchery, which I'm cool with, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, more mainstream. You know, you see us on the news, like, oh, explaining shit. Well, you see Dave Kennedy on the news, and you see more Dave Kennedy on the news. And you see some more Dave Kennedy. But, you know, okay, we're going to move. Okay, cool. So, why we chose... Do I even need this? Do I even need this? You guys hear me in the back? Oh, recording? Oh, good call. I didn't know. All right, so, you know, why we chose PowerShell. I mean, we've both been doing this for over a decade and a half apiece, and PowerShell 2006 came out. It was really wicked. It was called like Nomad, Morad, Moment, whatever. Jeff Snover has a bunch of talks on Channel 9, Microsoft channel. It's wicked. If you look at it, it's so simplistic. It's set up, verb, noun. You can't get it fucking wrong. If you could speak English or whatever, change your native language settings, whatever fucking verb noun is anywhere else, right? I don't know. It's simple. It's get something, set something, verb something. So I could learn it, and I did. Make reusable tools. Like, I'm going to stress this time and time again because last year my boss was like, so what did you do? You know, it comes that time where they ask you, what'd you do this year? And you have to tell them. Well, I wrote 458 fucking scripts last year that, you know, 397 people came back to me and asked me how they worked a day later, and they're kind of counterintuitive, you know. Can I have more time to script and write them better so I can give a more finished product so they don't come and ask me so we're not fucking up man hours? And management was like, well, then I'm like, well, it would cost you less money. And they're like, okay. So, I mean, it really depends on how you attack it. But reusable tools, man, you're going to hear me say this in and out, up and down. Get carrying. This is my favorite thing. So, also, PowerShell's native since like some service pack in XP that came out that hardly anybody used. Can save you time, save you money, do remote administration, control through group policy, or like if you're using SCOM or anything wicked, you can control through that. It's immediate, and this is what I love about it. You can be immediately effective. Like, you can give a Windows box or Linux box with PowerShell, whatever, we'll get into that later. You hand them stuff, newbies, new kids, old kids, wizards, whatever, and they verb noun it, dude, they're like, this is easy. I'm going to use this every day. Git hotfix. I automatically know what KBs are installed on my system by git hotfix. Do you really need SCOM at that point? Do you need some enterprise level suite to pull your system updates, validate settings? Nah, you can script the piss out of it. Another thing is, where's that going with that? Oh, enterprise management systems. How many people have like Blade Logic or massive management systems in your enterprises that, you know, you could write one script in, you know, 15 different languages and subject it to every system in your enterprise, no matter what the OS. Anybody have those? Oh, man. Okay. Well, I guess I'm spoiled. But, like, if you check out Blade Logic, it's nasty. It's its own weird fucking thing. But it allows you to write any script, turn them into a job, give them to the enterprise. What I found out is if you give a bad script that's poorly documented with no help or no verbose debugging, it's worthless. So it all comes back to building a good tool. Yeah, I love this, dude. So there's a lot of reasons why I love the Kool-Aid Man in PowerShell. My brother's a type 1 diabetic, and I didn't know what the fuck sugar was till I was 11. So Kool-Aid, it blew my mind the first time I tasted it. And it reminds me a lot of PowerShell, like, I remember going to my friend Mike's house, and he like poured Kool-Aid. I was like, what is this? You know, I drink Crystal Light. You know, what the fuck is this? He drank Kool-Aid. I was like, what? I never went back to Crystal Light, man. And that's how it kind of was with PowerShell and me, so it's funny to me. Sorry. Okay, let's get started, man. You don't need a book. Verb noun, you heard me say that 1,000 times. Get help. Man pages for Nix guys, Unix, Linux. Same thing. Get command, that's pretty sweet, right? Get command dash verb. Whoa, lists all the verbs. Get command dash noun. Boom, lists all your nouns. Get help about. How many in here know how to write functions? Couple? Okay. Now everybody can learn because you could type get help about underscore functions. And it gives you the whole base of the function, blows it out, tells you how to use it. You can cut and paste it, start writing your own functions instantly. It's nasty. Let's do it, dude. Oh, this is the demo time, man. We'll start doing it. So this right here, what you're looking at is the PowerShell ISE, Integrated Scripting Environment. It's not installed by default on servers, I think, anymore. But you could add it. It's kind of neat. I'm not going to get into details on how it's different from the command to shell, the PowerShell shell. There's a little bit differences, little nuances. But for demonstration purposes and showing people stuff, this is awesome. People are like, a lot of noobs to PowerShell are like, oh, what can it do? What can it do? That command you just ran, get WMI object list, every damn WMI thing in the world for Microsoft. If you want to know anything about an event log, I'm talking fucked up details that in the third sentence, if it started with an E, you could do it in PowerShell. Like, it's just, you get so granular with this stuff. And we're going to. Yeah, dude. So this is like, get WMI object list where name match network. Okay, cool. So now you could rape, okay, so I'm going to talk kind of two-hatted here. I'm talk kind of maliciously and talk kind of like secure administrator type deal. So once you gain access to a system with minimal privileges, because you don't need to be an administrator to run a lot of these cool commands, you can start nailing the network and enterprise of all this sweet information. So you know what's really awesome is if companies or entities utilize roaming profiles, because then you could exploit roaming profiles. I'm not going to go into exploits. This isn't that kind of talk. But you could use PowerShell to nail roaming profiles and go out through the whole network and pull different levels of information. You can check out our website for that. But anyway. Yeah, Reg had it too. So, what else? What do you want to do? This is Wayne, by the way.
Yeah. So how do you guys allow your users to run regedit to access the registry? You let your users type that and get in there and look at all the registry settings? Do you guys do that? No. But with PowerShell, as a normal user, I can see the registry settings. So think about that. If you gain access to a system through a shell and you run PowerShell commands, you might not, that user might not have administrator rights, but you can hit the registry keys. You can at least see what they are. Because you're not actually hitting the registry itself. You're hitting registry in memory. And PowerShell, that's how it allows you to see it.
Yeah, and we're going to do stuff like, right now, just get processes, list all your processes, right? Really cool. Kind of too much information. So, just nail this. Boom. Sort descending by property or virtual memory. So, you could select like, whatever you want. And then this guy right here. It's like sort object, property, virtual memory, descending, select the first 10. Give me the, so you got your 10 heavy hitter offenders for raping your virtual memory. And this cool thing comes with the ISE. It's a command called out grid view. It utilizes a bunch of Win form garbage in the background. So when you nail it, it pops up this little crazy thing, dude. Check it out. You can sort them. It's instantly, it's built in. Like PowerShell comes with all these neat little fun things. You can cut and paste this stuff, screen capture, send it to your boss instantly. No longer export to CSV. I mean, you no longer have to tool around with all kinds of stuff, man. I don't know, do you guys kind of get the gist of where we're going with this thing? Like how powerful and robust it is? Cool. Oh, by the way, and a lot of the commands, people refer to them as commandlets. The original name was functional units, FUs. I wish they would have kept that. Because that's just, I love FUs. What's the next one, dude? You want to do this one? All right, dude. So this is kind of covers some administrator duties, man. Get your hotfix, get your account information. And, you ever like 3:30 on a Friday, some jackass comes up to you and is like, dude, we missed our ASI or size schedule interruption window. Is this patch on all these boxes? And you're like, WSUS is probably broken or your database is probably busted because it's past its gig limit or whatever. You're like, man, what am I going to do? Just nail it. But, if you're an administrator and WMI is blasted throughout your whole, enterprise, the dash computer name variable, you could list all your computer names. You could a specific computer names that start with V. You could shoot it to a text file. You could nail every computer in your organization to have it say yes or no to a specific KB. So you know what's awesome about PowerShell is I keep telling my bosses, like, dude, it's going to take me like 6 hours. I'm done in like 4 minutes. I go jerk around for a while and come back. I'm like, hey, yeah, I got that data you needed. Oh, by the way, I'm lazy too. I'm lazy, so PowerShell it's perfect.
So you can grab user account information. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So user account, yeah. Pull out that. Scroll all the way over, man. Oh, and this works for domains too, like not just local stuff. So you can like nail a domain by throwing an ADSI statement in there. And you know, and okay, scroll all the way over. I want to explain this. I'll explain the. Scroll. So the last login, it didn't pull any of them because this script was written to run on a domain level and it's a standalone box. But you see how it still pulled the information that it could access.
So you saw how fast that was. How long would it take you to bring up Active Directory user computers and pull this information?
Yeah.
I mean, this was instant.
Yeah. And this is without the module for Active Directory installed in PowerShell. This is just native query in the box. I'm not installing any third-party modules yet. This is just what it could pull. And this stuff isn't locked down. Like, I mean, I walked into companies and they're like, yeah, our systems are locked down. Yeah. They can't change anything. Then you light up a PowerShell when you rape it. And you just sit there and laugh. You're like, dude, and it's because a lot of places, you know, updating from 2003 to 2K8 to 2012, the group policies were stagnant. You know, they never went in there and said, oh man, maybe I should actually set up security for PowerShell. And it went overlooked, and it's still overlooked. So it's kind of good, kind of bad. Oh, not another inventory script. Okay, first I have a pet peeve about inventory scripts. I don't remember. Machine info, there you go. You can export to CSV, XML, JSON, whatever you need, man. And you can feed it to databases, shoot it to an Access database, SQL database, Oracle, throw it in a table. You could run this as a job throughout your enterprise, like every other day, every week, have a fresh idea of what your agency has. I mean, these are what a lot of people pay big money for these crazy-ass enterprise suites to do.
It's hard to see that over there, but we're grabbing your OS information.
Oh, it's two pieces.
Your BIOS, you grab your video controller, your printers, CD-ROM, processors, memory, all the hard drives, disk drives, map drives, just everything.
Another thing too, this is gnarly for VMs. Like, if you walk into a place and you don't know like the lay of the land, you could run a couple custom scripts and have the whole lay of the land documented for you. And someone trashes a box, you'd be like, have no fear. Come on in and rebuild.
You guys need to look at event logs. Run this one.
Yeah. Okay, PowerShell's nasty with event logs, and not just event logs. I mean, there's things you could do with like. There's tons of modules by the POS. Any POS guys here? The POSSec guys? There you go, dude. So, I mean, your guys' work, phenomenal. Phenomenal, man. Like, choice. Dude, you got to tell them your info real quick, man. Tell them the website.
POSSec.com or GitHub/POSSec.
You got to check it out. Like, it takes it to the next level. We're just scratching the surface here. These guys, they went so deep, it's gnarly. Great for the community, man.
So all this event log script, all we do is we're focusing on attempted logon. Failed log on attempt. I mean, it took, what, 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Attempted log on for this system. Again, you do this across all your machines, across your whole network. You need to sit there and review event logs. You know, it's going to pull it all up for you.
And you could trick it out. You could add stuff like, you know, right here. Scroll up a little bit, dude. I don't know, scroll down or something. There's like, okay, you have like the second breakdown. You know, the minute someone fails consecutively, we wrote a quick script to go, boom, they failed with input. So, you know, what are they trying to do? You know, I mean, get your malicious hat on. What are they trying to do, man? You know, now I'm parsing my logs faster than whoever manages your log aggregator could decipher whatever dashboard they're looking at to tell you if you're getting nailed by logs or not. Yeah, so let's move on, dude. I don't know, dude. What's next? Uh, yeah, so this is like, Wayne loves this stuff. He's a huge forensics dude. He did a lot of stuff like, you can buy big tools and everything, but sometimes when you go to court and you sit on like, in front of a jury and they ask you about the tool you use to pull the information and you can't explain how it works, you're kind of discredited as the expert. When you walk in there and go, yeah, I wrote this tool and I used it on a copy of the hard drive. I mean, it changes the balance of how maybe a court decision may sway. So, cool, there you go.
One of the things you got to do is find out if any nicks are permissions mode, right? Here, this script is actually about 12 lines. Just run it both. Just told me, again, run this across the network.
Yeah.
Every machine. Tells you whether your nicks are permissions mode or not.
And, you can select it too to where promiscuous equals true. Just have it report that to you. So I mean, and we can run through the script real quick, dude. Go back to the Nick one really quick. So here's that WMI thing I talked about earlier. Here's the class, right? They're gonna nail all this cool packet filter stuff, namespace, root WMI, and you could do help get about this stuff, and it'll walk the dog for you. And right here, man, he's just doing a for each loop. For each adapter and adapters, instance name, check this. If it equals that, let me know yes or no. There's no tricky logic. There's nothing difficult. I mean, it's not Perl. I've seen some wicked Perl scripts. I love Perl. I love it. But, dude, some of those one-liners that do 15,000 things, I can't even. It's different language, man. It's those Russian chicks I never got to date. Yeah, Microsoft does a great job of keeping those in all kinds of fun places, like the registry, and he's running it as a non-administrator. Oh no, my bad. He is running as administrator. Yeah, but you don't need to. You don't need to. So it grabs the PS pass, which is PowerShell pass stuff. It grabs the item, blah 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 blah. And then, like, the whole path of what you're looking for. So, I mean, that's kind of handy. It's kind of fast. Kind of cool. Instant response guys like this kind of stuff. Is my resume up there? No, just kidding. Yeah. That one's selected it to the most recently 4 or something like that?
This is the last 10 days.
Okay, last 10 days. And so what we found out, too, by going around to different countries across the United States is there's a lot of junkies who are really into this. And then you got these administrators who sometimes aren't allowed or they don't know if they're allowed to use this stuff. I mean, it's available and not restricted, so why not use it? And, once you show them it, they're hooked, man. It's like better than crack. Do blacks do crack? Where's Gregory? Oh, he's not here. What else you got, dude? Yeah, this is another incident response thing. So restore points. So you got someone who tried to wipe a file off their machine, and then you go back and their machine did a restore point. So that's really handy dandy for trying to find certain information or trying to find someone covering garbage up. Yeah, compliance management's the next one, dude. So, how many people in here are under some sort of compliance measurement, like NIST, ISO, HIPAA, high-tech, PCI, all of them? Anyone? Okay. I mean, you can get kind of gnarly with this. Like, you could look for a certain item, like if a logon banner is there, and then attach it to all your NIST findings and DISA STIG findings, and if logon banner doesn't meet this criteria, it's, you fail this audit. I mean, at that point, do you need expensive auditing tools to validate systems? No, you don't.
So we just got several quick small ones here. You get into a lot more detail. This first one just goes, is joining a domain. You see down here, it's got domain part of the main false. Again, run this across all systems in your enterprise.
And put on your malicious hat too. I mean, if I gain access, if I'm delivering flowers to some place and I'm like, hey, is Deborah in? And the receptionist gets up and runs away and her computer's still logged in. I'm like, yeah, bitch. Couple PowerShell commands, dude. I could see their whole lay of their architecture. I mean, you could even run a PowerShell script to email yourself using someone else's credentials. Because they did add this cool thing called -get credentials. It's pretty cool. They kind of simplified a lot of stuff for you. But once again, this isn't like a malicious talk or hacker talk. This is just to scratch the surface, man. And one thing I want to point out, so programmer guys, what have you guys noticed with these scripts? They're written all crazy, all jacked up. Each one is a different layout. Each one is a different format. It's almost difficult for me to stand up here and talk about them, right? We seem like we're fumbling through this stuff. Show them the module, dude. Yeah, just skip it.
So we've been writing these scripts for about a year. We write all kinds of stuff. Our biggest problem that we run into is we give a script to somebody, and usually we have an output location or an input location where you want, you're taking input from a text file or something, and we comment to the side and say, change this location for wherever you're going to run it. Next day, man, your script doesn't work. It's broke. I'm not running it. Well, did you change the location? Where? You didn't tell me how to do that. So we're like, okay, fine. I'm going to quit handing out all these scripts. It got so bad that I would add into my script that it would generate a hash of the script file itself and output that. And then when they call me and say, hey, your script is broke, I say, well, what hash outputted? And they tell me, and I say, you changed my script. I can't help you. Go. I did.
That's common practice.
I added into all my scripts. And when they call me, I'm like, you changed it. Sorry. Re-download it and run it again. So to kind of alleviate that, we decided we're going to take all our scripts. We're going to add them into a module. Now with a module, we can stick it in a folder on every machine.
You use group policy to deploy your
module.
Right.
Deploy this module with group policy and stick it on every machine, and then every user now has those same commands available.
Every user that's allowed to activate or import that module. So you can get super granular with security on this, like what commandlets or commands or modules you want people to load. So you can get really granular. And think of your IT administration staff now. It's tiered. You got your SharePoint guy. You got this wizard on something or other.
Yeah.
They all share some common bond access to some weird file server or database somewhere. You could custom create your groups and push out security stuff on who could execute what command in a module.
Right. So you can write a script, say the promiscuous mode one. You add it into the module, and it's like get promiscuous mode. And then you tell your security guys, your SA, hey, run this command. And they just type get promiscuous mode, and then you can put get promiscuous mode - computer name, and however you want to handle it. But it's no longer a script that you have to manage. You're pushing everything with group policy at that point.
So the whole concept of this module is up top. I just quickly commented out a couple commands that we threw in this module. Get machine info. It's an entire inventory script. Get uptime. For some reason, people don't know how long their system's been up, and get uptime is really important to people. Get reboot time, last reboot, last 15 reboots, last 1,000 reboots, whatever's available. Get page file. Sometimes web server people move their page files all crazy. Get pending reboot. That's a fun one. It looks for 4 or 5 specific things that Microsoft requires a reboot to include, like locking of DLLs. So then it would be like, oh snap, one of these 4 things is true. Your machine needs a reboot. That may be helpful to know before you go push patches, or maybe there's an enterprise security system on all your devices that lock certain DLLs. This script will pick that up and let you know. It's kind of neat. We're going to run through it. Host-based security system, blah, blah, blah.
It will lock DLLs, and then you go to install patches, and they don't take, and you're like, what the hell?
Well, keep in mind that the patch guy is a system administrator doing his job, and the HBSS team is a security team locked away in a room that's like McAfee ninjas, and they need to update a module, but they don't have to tell anybody because they're security, and and then you have this whole enterprise of system administrators going.
So yeah,
what?
So McAfee, it'll lock your DLLs, and then we've run into this several times. That I got to put this patch on. It happens to use the same DLL. It won't install the patch. You're troubleshooting for hours trying to figure out why. Well, we created a script. We run it. It says pending reboot.
Yeah.
It tells you this is why, because this McAfee product
has
changed these files or has it locked. You reboot the box, patch installs fine.
Yeah. Especially with .NET. So another one, get installed software. That's a big one for cost analysis and how many people are running Wireshark that shouldn't be. Get USB devices. That's another one that's just kind of fun to run to see what people plugged in their boxes and stuff. But anyway, what I really want to focus on in the next couple minutes is the structure of this thing. Like, if you look back to some of the crazy, like, what is that? You don't know. It's gibberish. Blah, 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 .NET, blah, blah, something registry, blah, blah. Like, whatever, but it works. These are simple commands. It makes sense. Get WMyObject. What's that? Why aren't we using sim? Oh, by the way, this is like a PowerShell 2.0 presentation. 3 and 4 added a whole bunch of stuff, but we're just staying away from it for right now because, once again, we just want to get you guys excited about this because we're excited. So if you look at the system admin module version 1, right, I just named this morning. So if you look at the layout of this one simple command, function, I declared it as a function. I gave it a verb noun of my choice. Get machine info. And right here, once you add this block, that's it, man. I'll show you some cool stuff with it. Right here, you could get as crazy as you want. You could do get examples. You could give a really good description, a good synopsis. So when someone does a get help on your get machine info, this comes up. Well, we're going to show you that in a minute. But then, commandlet binding, this is a really cool thing that they added into PowerShell, man. And, Jeff Snover and the whole Microsoft gang, if they've done something right, this is wicked. This turns everyone into a tool designer, no longer a scripter. This commandlet binding locks in a bunch of kick-ass stuff like the get help thing. Like, you don't see me declare anywhere crazy in here like C++ or C# or anything where I have to, like, write my entire help file or functions on how to get help on this command. That little tiny thing does most of that for you. I'm sure there's more technical stuff to it, but I don't know it because I don't need to. It just works. But, then you got your parameter sets, output, blah, blah, blah. Now, the parameters are like, your dash computer name, dash error log path. Like, we'll get more into that in a second, but I really want you folks to look at the structure of this. It's kind of legible. You can see there's comments. I close my parameter block so I know not this started it and this ended it. Because anyone write programs or scripts and try to find out where your curly braces are, your closes, that's great. Especially when you do it in Notepad because your company's too cheap to buy a fucking scripting environment tool. Jesus. It drives me fucking crazy. So the begin stuff's really cool. You could look this stuff up online. I left this kind of simple. I didn't dive into the begin stuff. You could declare like global variables in your begin statement. And they'll always be there for your entire function. But that's, like, we're not here to teach you how to program. We're just teaching you how to do some cool shit. So the process. Now, this declaration block, this is where, like, the meat and potatoes, the fun stuff happens, right? So it says, like, for each computer and computer name, do the following. I declare a date here. Write verbose. I'm going to show you this after I import the module. This gives you a layer of knowledge of what's going on in your script at what time. So if you write get machine info dash get verbose, it'll stop or it'll show you what it's doing as long as you write it in. About the query so-and-so computer name. And I'll do it so you guys get a better understanding about it. And this debug, this pays dividends, man. If you add this to like before every major thing your script does, every different commandlet call, any custom code, it allows you to see where your script is failing. By typing get machine info dash debug. Wicked. And, it looks a little bit more lengthy than some of the ones that Wayne and I went through earlier, but I'll tell you, most of it's just get help and get verbose. It's still the same meat and potatoes.
So here is the same system inventory one I ran a minute ago.
Yeah, let me open it, dude.
Exact
Like, you don't even know what's going on here. It's like it's doing something and it's doing some more stuff, and I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, and it's structured fairly nice. I mean, and that's kind of a long one, right? Like it ends right here, close function. And then it like says like end of function 1, which is my way of saying just my mental note of, okay, now in my module, I'm going to start my function 2, get uptime. And you see a trend here, get uptime. Kind of the synopsis and helps laid out, commandlet binding, parameters. So I'm getting into this habit of write once, use many times. Cool, let's do it. So when you start to type a command in the ISE and not in the shell. Did they have it? No, they didn't. So in the ISE, like when you start going through it, it has this thing called IntelliSense, right? So when you start typing, you're like, oh man, get my, how come it's not doing it now? No, it's like, now it's not doing it. Just one-handed stuff sucks. Okay, so IntelliSense popped up. Once I got to O, it's like, get module, here's how to use it, blah, blah, blah. You just hit tab, get module, cool. Hey, Wayne. You want to just tell them. Okay, so right here, like get module, list available, hit enter, right? And all you do is deploy these module files. And the only difference between a module file and like a functionable script is changing the ass end of it to a PS1 to a PSM1. And then deploying it in one or two locations across all your machines. That's it. There's no hidden trickery. There's no, hey, this is how we have to make this work everywhere. You just have to add an M in the tail of it. And then like right here, you see under module name, it says system module v1. It's available. It's not loaded yet. So let's import it. If I could type. Import, you see, now I'm just using tab to do stuff, module. And now here's the thing with this, like sometimes, let's see, these are not case sensitive. Oh, I'm going to hit one key thing here that the posh guy is probably shaking his head at. He's like, you didn't cover this, but you just reminded me by being in the room. Thanks, man. So I'll do that. Oh, man, I can't do it, man. What's up? Did I type it wrong? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Module. There. Okay, that's it. It's imported. One key thing I want to tell you, whatever your name, your PSM1, like system admin module underscore version 1, the name of that file has to reside in a directory with the same name. That's the one key trick about modules. And I'll show you, I'll bring it up in a second here and show you what I mean. So that module's imported. Okay, what good is it? You know, how do I know what commands are in there, right? So just do a git command dash module. Doesn't even know it? No. So certain things doesn't do IntelliSense, right? Admin module underscore v1. There's the commands for that. So now let's run one, dude. Let's do git dash page file. Boom, there's my page file, right? So I know where it's at, know how big it is, I know how it's allocated, initial size, maximum size. What if I didn't know how to run it, right? What if I want to do like on a different computer? That you see all that dash computer name stuff that popped up? God, man, I'm having a rough time here. Don't, oh, by the way, I'll go into the naming of the talk later. It's kind of funny. So here's everything you get with that commandlet binding, that one little line in your function. You get all these different actions available. Out buffer, out variable, warning variable. You get to do all this crazy stuff without ever coding it. They built it in. You don't really need to understand .NET or code anything. It's gnarly. So when you get here, you do, get page file, computer name, and I'm just going to do localhost because that's all I have connected to this thing. Localhost, and now you could pipe it to whatever, and you can pipe it to grid view if you want. Just hit enter. And then you get it a nice little grid view. Now, so you could also pipe it to export. You could shoot it to anywhere you want. So now, once you build a module and build these commands, what have you done? You've enabled yourself to use every built-in PowerShell command piped or coupled with your custom commands. So you just added sweet-ass an arsenal, man. Your arsenal just infinitely multiplied itself. Cool, I'll do that. So the cool thing about this too is what it buys you. You can do get help, and we'll do the same one. We'll do get dash page file. And see, IntelliSense also recognized the command I built after I imported the module. And so there's a couple ways how to do get help. A lot of folks just do get help or help, then the name of the command like verb noun, and hit enter, and you can see the whole thing. My favorite is dash full. It tells you all the examples. Now, if you're a newbie or kind of afraid of programming or new to PowerShell, there's nothing stopping you from cutting and pasting this, using it down in here, and then just change your computer name. So now with the module, and if it's written correctly with the right synopsis and examples, you've just taken away a lot of questions of people coming up to you about your tools that you've written. All you can tell them is, hey, dude, hit get help dash full, highlight what you need, cut and paste the shit. So now what do you have to do? Nothing. It allows you to go code more, have more fun. Dude. You do the get verbose, dude? Or do the get verbose, man. Do something crazy. So, like, same command, page file. So I know we're going like 1,000 miles an hour, too, and we did this, like, get help, get process, get this, get WMI, get blah, 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 blah. Here's a module. But the module is just made up of these little tiny verb noun. It's nothing to be afraid of. Oh, yeah, and you could also make certain parameters in your functions mandatory, like we did for a computer name. Hit enter again, dude, because it'll keep going. It happened twice. So if you scroll up, you'll see these little verbose messages. Scroll way up, dude. What'd you do? That's too big. Do page file, it's smaller. Okay, so right here, verbose, about to query local host. These are those things that we added to our scripts or our functions early off, so we know if it's working or not. I mean, have you guys ever written a script and ran it and go, why isn't this thing working? Where is it breaking? Then you sit there for 10 hours and realize that, oh man, it stopped because they don't have permissions to access this file. Do the same thing, dude. That's cool. Yeah, localhost, dude. It's all mandatory. So, and also what this has done too by making like your computer name mandatory, you're forcing your lower level administrators to know the machine name, interact with PowerShell, so hopefully they go, man, how does this work? I want to write this stuff. How does it know to ask me? How does it know to question me to start it? And then when it hits a debug thing, it forces you to answer something. Yes to all, halt, suspend. What this will allow you to do right here, if you hit suspend, you can go run more commands and then go back to it. So you could update your script, reload the module, rerun the command, you're good. So and you could do both. You could do dash get verbose, dash get debug, and really wreck your, take your time run scripts. But the whole purpose of this module thing, I think it's heavier than the content, right? So we threw a bunch of stuff at you guys. Basic system administration stuff. Nothing was bang. We didn't do any trickery up here. We didn't write a new program. We didn't write anything. We just queried the machine for what the machine already knows. So how many of you wrote scripts or functions that may be groundbreaking, but later you found out that they already had something for? That's a bitch, isn't it? That pisses me off to no end. Like, I'm like, man, I thought I had this one. Like I wrote this one about pulling the MTU size. MTU size is difficult to get on certain HBAs and certain jacked up network devices. It took me months to write it. I thought I had it. Then we sat down, collaborated, a couple beers, fucking 2 lines. 100 lines turned into like 2, and I was like, God damn it, man. It was a COM object. Why'd they add it? Why'd they do that? But, yes. Yes. Yes, you are. Anything that's on the machine, and this is I'm gonna go bold here. Anything that's on the machine, you can get to it. You know, basic on your levels of access, administration. Oh, Poshmaster. How do you feel about right host? Oh, okay, right host. Okay, first off, Don Jones and I had communications back and forth that this dude, he's like the Elvis of PowerShell. Like, if there was like a front man for PowerShell that's just really pretty, it would be this guy, Don Jones. He's really pretty. His beard is way prettier than mine. He has better posture than me. He's just a pretty guy. And I'm not that pretty. Right, host? I agree with him. Horrible. I mean, what's the point? What's the point? You know, what's the point of, that's a different conversation. But if you write tools and you have it right host and people use your tools and they're never, it's a waste. It's a waste of effort, waste of time. Always, yeah.
How would you go about queries that, maybe a local admin users, maybe do a compare and dip on a daily basis and report back on those changes?
We didn't do one with comparing users. We did one for software. And what we did was we would query all the software. We threw it into a CSV. And then the next, we did it about every 12 hours, I think. It would just rerun that, and it would create a second CSV and compare the two. You can have it pull the data. If you leave the script, if you run it as a job and it just sits and runs, you can grab the first one and keep it as a custom object. And then the second time it runs, do another custom object and compare the two. So, and you can do the same thing with users.
That comparison function, is that built into PowerShell?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
You shoot them both out in any type of file, like
Yep.
XML, JSON, text, CSV, whatever.
CSV, yep.
You do like, get content, file 1, source, use file content 2, dash compare. It'll be like, line XYZ is greater.
Right.
It'll tell you what you have to have.
Yeah, it'll show you the difference.
It also does like Linux commands, like ls, that shit works.
Yeah, we didn't go into that, but
They alias a lot of Linux commands into PowerShell, so has anyone ever worked in a shop where they drew a line down the middle and said, "You guys are Windows, you guys are fucking Linux guys"? What the hell? Like, isn't that the most fucked up? Like, I feel insulted because they put all the new guys on the Windows side. Now I'm like, I've been doing this stuff for years. I'm like, dude, I work on the Windows side. How come this new guy is here? Like, what the fuck? I feel really bad. But, and at the end of the day, man, 1.5 billion users Microsoft has. Don't bite the hand that feeds. Goddamn Nix guys. No, I'm just kidding. No, like I don't know, like diverse backgrounds, man. Like scripting, like Python, Perl. I love those languages. I love Linux. Kali's insane. Like I love everything that Set does. I love a lot of things our community does, but I'll be damn sure like seeing Metasploit and Set utilize PowerShell to validate exploits and everything. That's a small piece of it. That's like the pen test security analyzer part of it. What if you're an SA, man? What if your job is defending this shit? Well, you need the same tool set, and this leverages a playing field.
Yeah, one of the benefits we've seen with this is we like you said earlier, we do have an enterprise-wide tool that I can put a script in it and push it to every system across my entire enterprise. The guy that controls that is a Linux guy. He's been a Linux guy forever. He hates Windows, but the system manages Windows and Linux. So he'll come up and be like, man, I need this information off these Windows boxes.